All right, this is Just Shit My Mom Did Part 5. And this episode's going to be a long one because there are stories within the stories here. These are fucking... This one's a hard one to even was to write out originally, but here we are. So, growing up, my mom was really weird with what I was allowed to watch and not watch. Because, like, a lot of the shows she'd let me watch would kind of contradict the shows she wouldn't let me watch because they were the same fucking shit. Like, it's kind of crazy. So, like, for example, this was the first time I remember being told I wasn't allowed to watch a TV show was X-Men. Like, na 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 na, na 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 na. Like, that one, I wasn't allowed to watch that show because my mom thought X-Men was stupid. And that's literally all she said. She's like, no, X-Men's dumb. It's stupid. You're not allowed to watch that. But then Mighty Morphin Power Rangers would come on. And, go Power Rangers. I was allowed to watch that show, and if you really think about it, at the end of the day, both shows were about a fucking team of fucking superheroes, intergender mix, fighting bad guys, sometimes giant robots, on both shows, and would fucking, go to, like, sometimes there'd be a school setting, sometimes they'd deal with fucking, problems at home or like teens and stuff like that, but both shows were so fucking similar, not to mention Power Rangers had realistic style martial arts and violence in it, but no, I'm not allowed to watch fucking X-Men, but I'm allowed to watch Power Rangers. Just weird shit like that, right? And like, yeah, I was allowed to watch like Ninja Turtles as well too, Biker Mice from Mars, Street Sharks, all those shows I was allowed to watch, but no, Sailor Moon as well. Wasn't allowed to watch X-Men though. My mom was super fucking weird about that. And she'd get, like, weirded out about other things, too. Like, for example, I wasn't allowed to play with magic cards. Because, and I'm dead serious about this, when I asked my mom why I wasn't allowed to play with magic cards, is because she told me I didn't understand what I was getting myself into, and I might open up a realm I'm not ready for. And I'm like, what the fuck do you mean? Like, I thought she's being, speaking as like a metaphor, as in, oh, you're going to get yourself into some kind of nerd subculture and be a little geek or something. Like, that would be a parent's concern. I could understand if she was going that way. No, she actually thought I was going to be casting fucking spells. And I'm dead serious. And she honestly, still to this day, believes that kind of shit. Like, I don't have to tell you, I don't believe in this outlaw mud show, hocus pocus bullshit. Other people believe in Ouija boards. I don't. Like, I fucking own one. I think it's just like a cool prop design. Anyways, this is all, like, the weirdness that is with my mom. I'm not allowed to play, magic cards because I could open up a realm of evil. But at the same time, my mom will let me play with Yu-Gi-Oh cards where me and my brother were constantly screaming to each other, I'm going to ban you to the Shadow Realm. It's like, what the fuck? One of these things is not like the other, but they're both card games, yet I'm not allowed to play with fucking with them. But I'm going to have to do a side story here because this kind of gives the whole flavor context to the mindset here. So when I was playing with these magic cards and shit, I was probably about 13 years old. I was in grade 7 to going into grade 8 type shit. I had a GameCube and an N64. Keep in mind, when I was in grade 6, post 9/11, my mom had bought me the game Conker's Bad Fur Day for N64. Now, if you've never played that game, it's pretty crude and over the top, you know what I mean? It's not a game you normally get for kids. My mom would let me watch South Park. She bought me the South Park video game, the one where you throw the snowballs at the turkeys, and you can even pee on the snowballs to throw at the turkeys, and it's a first-person shooter. Like, I had that game too, but my mom wouldn't let me watch shows like Puppets Who Kill. That's where the story's going. But before we get to that part, I'm going to give you a nice little context of how cool my fucking nanny was. Because I go there every second weekend, right? So, my nanny, she would literally, like, I can't give you the dimensions of how big her square feet that is, how big her front and backyard was, but it was tiny. Like, you could probably fit 3 cars at the most on her front lawn, and 2 cars, maybe 3 in the back, and I would mow that thing in less than half an hour, and she'd give me $20. Now, when you're a little kid, $20 is pretty good, especially back in the day before inflation. Especially when all your desires in the world are to have bags of chips and bottles of pop and maybe a few little extra, cards from the card shop or the gas station, you're a pretty happy kid. And that's usually what you could get yourself with like $10 back in the day. My nanny giving me that $20 every second weekend. I had a bigger allowance than all my friends. I was able, like, my friends would go buy a booster pack from the card shop, I'd be able to buy a fucking starter deck, or I'd be able to buy one of the cards behind the glass counter, the really rare ones that are, I still have some of those cards to this day. But because my nanny giving me money and letting me go out and spend it on whatever I want, she didn't care where I spent my money. She didn't tell me not to spend my money on certain things. It gave me a sense of independence I didn't have when I'd be at home with my parents, or my stepdad and my mom. Even with my real dad, he was pretty, easygoing and lenient, but not as much as the freedom and independence my nanny let me have. My nanny would let me have fucking coffee at like 12 o'clock at night, and she's like, oh, I'm going to bed then at night. And like, we used to do this thing at like 10:30 at night. We'd call it cereal time, and we'd have like Lucky Charms, and then I'd have coffee after Lucky Charms. And she would wonder why I was up till 3 o'clock in the morning watching TV and playing video games. But these are the things my nanny used to let me do. And keep in mind, once in a while, nanny would be like, does your mom let you do this at home? I'm like, yeah, this is the normal for me. I'm lying through my fucking teeth, but it's not like I'm ever gonna get caught in the lie. And that's where I get to, today's major part of the story. So one of these times at my nanny's house, it's literally 11 o'clock. That show Puppets Who Kill is about to come on. And, it's one of the another weird times where it's not like my mom told me I wasn't allowed to watch that show. She just didn't know I was watching it. So this at 11 o'clock at night, I guess my brothers went to go watch Puppets Who Kill, because I get the phone rings, and I'm expecting nanny to get a call from back east from one of her sisters or, uncles or something. And she's like, Denon, phone's for you, it's your mom. And I'm like, okay, that's weird. Why does my mom call me on a Friday night? She never calls me. So, I get to the phone, my mom's like, Denon, so I'm aware you watch a show called Puppets Who Kill, and you're not allowed to watch that show anymore. And I'm like, well, joke's on you. I'm already watching the show right now. She's like, Denon, if you don't think I'm going to drive all the way and come get there and take you home right now, I will. I'm like, well, even if you speed, it's going to take you an hour to get from Maple Ridge to Agassiz, and the show's only fucking on for another 22 minutes. Do what you must. I've already won. And I hung up the phone and I turned off the ringer, because I knew if my mom would call back, she's overbearing like that, and she would fucking call 10 times in a row on 11 o'clock at night to my poor old nanny. So yeah, I turned the fucking ringer off, and the next day, when I got back on Sunday from being dropped off for the weekend, my mom was all in her bitchy mood, trying to, put her rules and, whatever, the fact that I disobeyed her. It's like, lady, like, come on, I'm fucking 12, turning 13 years old, I'm gonna watch a show that has fucking swearing and fucking sexual gestures in it. I'm sorry, you already lost when you bought me Conker's Bad Fur Day a year and a half ago for fucking Christmas or my birthday. I don't remember at this point. But at the same time, it's like, I'm 33 years, turning 33 this year. I'm 32 now. If I have to stop and think about when I started swearing openly as much as I fucking do now, and how I've been talking like this since I was probably 7 years old. 7 or 8 years old, I've been swearing and talking like this. Whether my parents knew it or not, when I was around my friends, I'd always fucking swear. It's the way we fucking talked. And so to watch a show that had swearing in it or crude gestures, it's like my mom had no idea. I was doing that stuff with my friends anyways, you know what I mean? Like, it's just funny when your parents try to control what their kids are, getting themselves into. If it's drugs, yeah, be an overbearing parent. But if your kid's already fucking, no offense, like when I was grade 5, I already realized on Channel 13 on Friday nights and Saturday nights after midnight, they played porno on cable back then. I already knew what fucking masturbating was, like, you know what I mean? So now to tell me I'm not allowed to watch a show that's, in comparison to porn, way less bad, and you know what I mean? It's not like she ever said, Denon, I'm aware you watch porn after midnight, you're not allowed to do that anymore. You know what I mean? That's like, what was she gonna do? Like, give me that talk? Like, she never gave me the birds and the bees talk. So I just always found it funny when my mom was gonna try to tell me what I was allowed to watch on TV or anything, because I just found it was always dumb, hypocritical, or it came from a weird back assward logic of like, I'm gonna actually cast a fucking spell with a thing of magic cards. Like, joke's on her too. I remember this one day, I had magic cards, because they come in, if you don't know what magic cards are, they come in like 5 different major colors, one for fire, one for water, one for grass, which has forests on it, and then one for swamps, which is black, which has the skulls on it, which isn't really swamp-like, but if you're gonna draw a swamp, what do you draw? Like a boggy tree? They already have trees for green, so they go with like the swamps, right? And then for white, they go with the sun, which the sun is yellow, but you can say white's either yellow, but it's supposed to be white, but it's sometimes yellow. Regardless, I remember this one day I took the oh my God, I'm reading something. I took the blue magic cards and I threw the water mana all over the ground, so it just looks like there's little pitchers of water all over the ground. And it's like, Mom, come quick! There's water all over the bathroom floor. I don't know why. She comes running in and sees a bunch of water magic cards on the ground. She's like, fuck you, you're fuck. You know, I got all pissed off at me. She's like, I don't want you playing with those things. The first time I actually got caught with my magic cards, though, we were in my grandma, not my nanny, like my stepdad's mom. I always call her grandma. She was awesome. But yeah, we're in Grandma Smart's van, and my mom, she's like, what are these? I'm like, my cards. She's like, you don't play with Yu-Gi-Oh cards anymore. I'm like, they're not Yu-Gi-Oh cards. She's like, why? What are they? And I'm like, they're magic cards. And I'm expecting, like, I forgot I brought my black deck with me. So I figured she was going to open my deck. My favorite color is green. Like, I'm obsessed with the color green naturally outside of Magic. So I figured she was going to open my green deck, see all the fucking elves and fucking woodland creatures and forest and think, oh, this isn't all that I made it out to be. It's not bad at all. What she fucking grabbed, she grabbed my black deck and just happens to look at the most satanic fucking looking card I had. I think it had like Satan worshiping on it or something, and she's like, I told you not to play with these. I'm taking these away from you. I'm calling your nanny. Blah, 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 blah. Because she asked me where I got them from. I was like, what do you think? I spent my own money on them. Like, I don't know. There's just something about when you're a teenager and you have your own independence and you have your own money and your parents can't control what you do. And just to see them struggle so hard to control you, it's just fucking weird. You know what I mean? Like at the time, I just thought she's like, I'm getting tongue-tied now because I don't even know how to express the vivid image I have of my mom leaning backwards, or like, you know, like she's turned around in the chair, right, in like the seat of the van, and just yelling and reaming at me. And my grandmother's looking at like her like, why are you being such a psycho over this? And she's like, look at these things, Jerry, look at them. And then she's showing it to my grandma, like of all things, she's like flipped through the cards, and now she's accidentally shown my grandmother like one of the more innocent, like fucking kind of cuter looking monster cards, if you will. And my grandma's like, well, they don't seem that bad. And she's like, oh, look at this one. And then my grandma's like, well, and then the best one was, she's like, well, I took Ferg and his brother to see, and she named like, I think like Judas Priest. And she's like, that was pretty satanic, but they didn't get into cults. And then, so now my grandmother, who doesn't even, he's just getting this projected onto her, has nothing to do with these cards. She's not even giving me the money to get them. It's kind of defending me, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. Mom, see, you're making a big deal out of nothing. But yeah, that is the story of how my mom was overbearing with things I was allowed to subject myself to as a kid. You know what I mean? Like, did anyone else ever have their parents give weird fucking rules and kind of like things you were and weren't allowed to, you know, watch as a kid? Because I can understand if someone says, oh, I wasn't allowed to watch South Park when I was 9. I understand that. That's not too bad. But, you know, like, when you're 13 years old, I think that you should be giving your kids some fucking freedom. You know what I mean? Like, my mom didn't like make me wear a fucking helmet when I was skateboarding when I'm 7, going into the fucking traffic and shit. So, and gave me a fucking slingshot at the same time too. But no. You don't watch the show about puppets. It's just, you know, it's fucking ass backwards if you ask me. So if you have any stories like that, share, post them in the comments below, subscribe. I will be back next time with part 6. I think I'm talking about the time I accidentally cut my penis off. I'm going to keep on saying that every time until I get to that story, and then I'll be like, oh, I think next episode's whatever. But I think you guys get the joke and get the gist of things. I'm also really bad for ending these. I don't know how to say goodbye. There's always things that are on my mind too. So sometimes I tend to ramble at the end. But as long as you are actually listening, and if you made it this far in my fucking story, I'm doing better than I thought. Okay, so like, what was the thing I posted? Like, I remember this was in the It was like Goonie Goohoo or Goombala or something. I said, if you read it this far into the story, post Goombala in the comment section below so I know you actually read this. And then every comment just had the Goongala or Goombaka, or I made up some fucking word. And it was pretty funny. So if you made it this far into my fucking thing, just post in the comments below. Oh shit, I don't know. Beyblades Forever, Shadow Realm, something about literally say something about Pokemon, something. Yeah, if you made it this far, something about Pokemon, something. Comment that below. Take care.